My guest today is Karim Shoaib. Karim is the founder of Dopamine, which is a very interesting app. There's a token. It's kind of described as a super app for crypto. We'll learn all about this today. But yeah, welcome to the show, Karim.
Hey, Handy, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
It is a pleasure. Excited to have you here. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show, Karim. It would be great if you could please introduce yourself. I'd love to hear a little bit about your personal and professional background. What have you been doing in the lead up to founding Dopamine, the super app for crypto?
Oh, man. I will try to make it short, but I'm French, an engineer, and I would say like more than 25, 30 years like into finance. I started credit very early when I was 5, 6. And I was really passionate with computer science. I finalized my engineering degree with AI. And yeah, helping banks with cryptographic infrastructure in 2013 for the biggest banks, Societe Generale, and so on. Took care of infrastructure for ETFs. But 2017, this is where really the world leader core banking system came to me and asked me to join to lead the new roadmap. And here I was lucky enough to be working with the CEO at the time, Francisco Fernandez, which is a billionaire that now have sold part of Avaloq to NEC. And what I did there was putting in place everything which is related to AI, Watson, IBM Watson, but also putting in place the infrastructure for digital assets, cryptocurrencies. So this is what I've been starting building in 2017, onboarding the first banks. I will tell you a bit later, like the double narrative, where people were actually hearing from banks that crypto was bad, but at the same time, they were already spending millions with us to actually build the infrastructure. It's just like they were not ready. But while I was building this whole infrastructure, I saw quite a lot of pain points. I had like a white card where I could spend as much money as needed in order to build this infrastructure. And I was looking for plug and play solutions to be able to be quick on the market, you know. And even if I had like this unlimited budget, nobody was doing certain things that I was looking, like real-time parsing of blockchain, bridges, interoperability, and all that. And there were like massive need to do that. So yeah, I spoke with Francisco and I decided that yeah, I will create this base layer. And this is what I started. So I basically started building like the Google of the blockchain already like in 2019. Um, we started pitching that to the biggest bank. Say cool, but they had like some compliance issues, so we built up on top of it a world standard in anti-money laundering, and we kept on building like this big infrastructure. But my goal was always like to really democratize all the technology for people wherever they are in the world, you know, um, because like crypto is about mass adoption and reshuffling like the distribution of power. And my goal was to really like encapsulate all the tool and infrastructure that we built into a mobile app that everybody, wherever they are in the world, could download, install on their phone, and actually get the same tool as the biggest institution. So that's what we did. So started like putting the e-banking capacity to buy Bitcoin for the grandmother, but in the same time helping the little Pakistanis or Kenyanese or Mexicanese or wherever they are in the world to actually manage every type of digital assets safely and compliantly.
Got it. Thank you, Karim. So there's a few different ways to understand what you're trying to build then, or what you are building, what you have built with dopamine. So you've done a good job there. Let's dig into it a little bit more because I've seen you describe this in different ways. Um, one way is just as like a tokenized Web3 software license powering businesses and other apps with Web3 code. AI is involved, and as you've kind of hinted at, compliance as well is a very big part of this as well. And there are multiple, I guess, end users as you've identified as well. So let's just give us, I guess, the kind of origin story and beginning of a dopamine and the different use cases that you're trying to cover here, Karim.
Sure, sure. So, you know, when there is a gold rush in the past, like there is this expression, sorry for my French, but like basically the most important part is the one which is like selling the shuffle and the blue jeans, you know? And and me, when I was at Avadoc, like building this infrastructure for the biggest bank, like to onboard digital assets, um, there were like really some missing parts, like real-time parsing and indexing of blockchain. At the time, nobody was knowing how to do that. It was quite tough, you know. If you want to do, for example, a reporting or settlement telling me like what are the last transaction above 30 million that are hitting Binance in the last 20 seconds, nobody's able to do that right now, you know. And we needed to do that for the banking system. So I built the first layer, which is like real-time parsing of all the blockchain. Even in 2019, we were already parsing more than 17 blockchain in real time with nodes hosted in Switzerland, you know. My first dev, probably you know his name, was Andre Cronier, the guy that actually built Yearn Finance and Phantom. He was my first dev, you know.
Yes.
Then, you know, like another pain point was interoperability. You know, when you help a bank to support Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay, it's two different blockchain, two assets. It's not compatible, but it's okay. It costs you a bank 2-3 million per year, but it's not scalable if you want to support 20 blockchain, you know? So I was looking for a solution that was like really giving like interoperability, and nobody was doing that at the time. 2018, I was looking, there were like different projects that wanted to do that, but nothing really serious except one project that was called Fusion at the time. And I look at the maths were good in theory. Yeah, I had the chance to lead this initiative as chief crypto officer. Here again, I was lucky enough to lead the team with Gennaro, Goldfeder, Pascal Pallier, Louis Goubin. So that are like the four best cryptographers in the world. Like if you look at Gennaro and Goldfeder, they are like the guy that created like the algorithm for the Bitcoin. Pascal Paillet is the Paillet homomorphic encryption, and Le Goubin is one of the professor that's also like touched very well like on zero knowledge proof. And we built like the mathematical theorem and products that enable like real interoperability. This is a tech which is right now used in most of the bridges like zero knowledge proofs and FMC and MPC. And yeah, that was something that I did too. But every time I was building a piece of software, my goal was always to encapsulate that and put that into a mobile app. Because, you know, if you look at what digital assets means, for me, it's very simple. It's just like a migration, you know, into like I think Andy, you're probably my age, so you know, like we had this old phone in the past, you know, and going to mobile phone was just a simple migration, you know, like it's just like it's more efficient, it's better, it's portable, and from an infrastructure perspective, blockchain is just like a simple migration, you know. It's nothing very complex here. It's just like you had informaticians that normally are people that are very autistic, and mathematicians is the same. And because nowadays we have internet, people start communicating a bit better. Informaticians and mathematicians started to speak together, and they just applied like basic math to infrastructure that create blockchain and to models and that create AI. So it's just like nothing very complex or new from a mathematical perspective. It's just like applied to real world use case that give decentralized ledger blockchain, which is cool because it's more efficient, 24/7, less expensive, plenty of advantage, transparent, and so on. And also applied to AI, you can get like a lot of value with autonomous system, you know? And because I do believe that life is well done and the big architect planned everything very well, it's actually like at the same time that you see autonomous system with autonomous payment architecture being raised at the same time and converging, which like just makes sense, you know? But nothing very complex, just a simple migration.
Sure. And like, well, a simple migration is one way of describing it, but really what you're talking about is something quite ambitious, Karim. But you're right in thinking, it just makes sense that an everything app is the kind of logical endpoint of where we need to get to for, just for the user experience to be simple enough to
Yeah.
engage the next wave of users. Is that kind of your thinking as well? It's just you should be able to. It makes sense. You should be able to do whatever you need to do with your different crypto products and services, because at the moment the field, as you know, Karim, so many different wallets and seed phrases, and just
Yeah.
it gets very confusing. All the different exchanges, it could be a much better experience.
Yes, 100%. And look, look, we are Swiss based, and in Switzerland, we have chocolate, we have banks, but one of the cool things that we have is also Swiss knives,
Yes,
something that you can do for everything.
yes,
And it's the same, basically, look, if you had a magic stick, and I love MetaMask, I love Trust Wallet, I love every builders in the space, like builders, they are just like sharing the same passion, and that's great. But if you had a magic stick and you will take this magic stick to all these wallets that you mentioned, you would like them to be like covering all the blockchain. You would like them to be able also to manage your centralized exchange, like to be able to make like the swap. If you go like to a sex and you want to go back to your wallet, it should be easier. You want to be able also like to get your news inside, your videos, your podcast. You want to be able to do like leverage trading, centralized, decentralized. You want to be able to manage all your NFT, move to earn, play to, like basically everything which is managing digital asset doesn't need to be complicated. You can have that directly in one app, and that does it efficiently. And that's what we built. We started with in 2015, and we have been building like crazy. Every time there is a bear market, we are very happy because that let us a bit more bandwidth, like to really focus on the core tech. And this is what we've done. And to go back to your first question, because perhaps I missed that point, is like we have a token, which is the dope token, which dope because it's cool, but also because like it's addictive, and it represents the dopamine, like this molecule that you have in your brain that help you be focused, be happy, and plenty of that things. And in here, it's really a utility token. We really wanted to build a project where you have a utility token and you can use it in day one, like you buy it not to speculate, like the goal is not, it's not a financial instrument. You don't want to buy it like thinking, oh, it's going to pump. No, you really want to bring value. If you buy the token, you need to have the goal of using it. And if you use it, it needs to bring you like an exponential asymmetric return of investment, and this is what we think we do with our token. If you use it as a retail inside the app, you can unlock all this really cool function. And we do believe that with what we have built, you are able to get like a very good return of investment compared to the price you pay the functions. And also, if you are businesses, we also think that the token should bring you value, and it brings you value in the form as an extended form of utility, which is a licensing model, which is also a utility. Like, what does it mean, utility token? It means like you have a token that grants you access to some functions, yeah? And a licensing model is also basically like a utility in the sense that you access functions, but you also access the source code, the infrastructure, and everything. And banks and exchanges that were our first customers use it for accessing like the world standard in anti-money laundering, but our like also core infrastructure and retail directly the specific function inside the app. And if I want to name one specific function, like for everybody which is listening to us, like the coolest function, it will sound like scam, because like I know it's too nice to be true to hear that, but that's why like don't trust, verify. But our data science in terms of trading, we are very proud of it. It's really, really good. When we were in the bear market, the data were showing like 25% return in average per week on bear market. And now it's bull market, so it's far above, but we do believe that you really see if a trading system works when it's a bear market, because in a bull market, everything is pumping and it doesn't mean anything. But we are very proud that our math are giving us like these results, and we are able to create this type of baskets ETF where 1 week in advance, we tell you 20 coins that are meant to be very interesting for the coming week. And we created that as an ETF, kind of like, like you say, I want to put $100, and then you have all this position created for you with proper risk management, everything, non-custodial. That means like everything under your custody, And yeah, we are very proud about that and very excited like to bring that to the world. And we have been working so much, man.
Well, fascinating. So yeah, there's a lot of different use cases for dope, and I mean, you're right. You said it yourself. It does sound cool.
Yeah,
Dopamine is a great name for an app, and I mean, yeah, dope. That's a great
thanks,
name
man.
for the dopamine token, and dope. It just sounds dope, right?
Yeah, it is. And we have the dope TV, you know, like for example, like for example, this podcast, we're gonna embed it inside the app because we have like podcast embedded inside the app,
Yes.
real time populated directly. But also like all the YouTubers, all the KOLs, you know, like our goal was really like to foster like knowledge, you know, like so we put like everything that we can in order to help people learn, you know, because that's the real wealth, you know, learning and getting educated. So you have like all the videos and everything translated in real time in whatever language that you have. Um, everything is meant to help people to really like understand what is happening with this migration, and because it will change everything around them in a very short period of time. Like the migration, you know, it's it takes a bit of time to bring all the bit and pieces, like in every type of migration.
Just
But
explain what
then
you
when
mean. Just explain exactly what you mean by migration in this context, Karim. Because some people that have been using dopamine for a while, they'd be very well aware of it, but some people that are new to it and listening today won't know exactly what you mean. And how does Solana play into this as well? Because I know you deployed on Solana, but it's you're going essentially multi-chain as well. Sorry if those are
yeah,
two
yeah.
slightly different subjects, but just yeah, bring us up to speed.
So migration, like it's just like as I said, like you know, like we are getting from one system, which was the old archaic system, centralized database that cost like 20 million per year on a bank, to this decentralized distributed ledger, you know, which is far easier to maintain, far more efficient. And because we have that, because we have AI, because we have now spatial computing, and I could tell you like how I see that, but it took a bit of time to bring all the brick and pieces all together. It took like basically like more than 10 years. But now like the acceleration and adoption of the technology is going to be like very, very fast. The same way as like when mobile phone came. It took a bit of time, you know, like you had like this type of intermediary phone, you know, if you remember like that big and an antenna like that. But then from one day to another afterwards, like there comes a Nokia, and then everybody was on mobile. Like, and that's gonna be the same with the technologies like AI, um, Web3, and then I can speak about it a bit later on, spatial computing, you know, which is something which has been very, very much like impacting the world of computer science, but like nobody speak about it at this moment. But that you will see that like very much popping up. Solana, you asked me about Solana. So Solana was a choice. Like basically, like we are fully agnostic in everything that we build, every blockchain. Like we are fully technology agnostic because as technicians, you know, we know that technology evolves with time. You know, that's our goal is not to be right, but to really provide value to people, and people decide which networks they like most, which technology they like most. And what we build in our technology is like a meta app. So we are fully agnostic. We are able to control any type of app, any type of technology. And we are fully open to new technology providers and every time. But at the moment of doing the launch of our token, we knew that we will be like multi-chain, and we had to choose, okay, on which chain are we going to deploy first? At the exact moment, Binance was doing like their ZK rollup. It was not like fully pushed out. At the same time, Solana showed again a very strong marketing capacity to mobilize people. Also, like OEM capacity to create phones and going into this direction. And when I saw like basically the Saga phone, and I said like, oh, that's great that they try that, but like it looks like crap. Like let's bring them like an OS that makes sense for Web3. And they say like, actually, like when they're gonna see dopamine, they probably want to have that standard inside their phone. And the easiness of deploying on Solana and the hype of the network made us decide to go on this network first. And we're gonna deploy on the next blockchain, but organically, like we reached 3.7 million users. And right now we're on Solana, and we're gonna get our user base growing, the usage growing. And based on that, we will decide for the next blockchain. It could be like on Base, because Base is showing also some nice advantage. But like, as don't ask me like if I'm maximalist or no, like right now. But you see, like when you see runes on Bitcoin, even if I think Bitcoin is not meant to be used for that. But as said, like my opinion doesn't really matter. We will see what like the people really want. But yeah, we are fully agnostic on terms of blockchain and deployment of technology.
Yes, yes, indeed. Very well said. Thank you, Karim. Another thing that's really interesting that I've seen that you guys are doing on Dopamine is, I think it's, I guess you describe it as gamified seed phrases, right?
Mhm.
And I know you're kind of targeting that at the younger generation, but also, of course, first time crypto users. So just talk us through that, because it's quite an interesting idea.
Yeah. So you see, like for a lot of people, blockchain has been always painted as something very complex and difficult. And that's so wrong. Like it's so simple. Like everybody, like we can take a 5 years old kid, and we started like this, take 5 years old kid. In 3 minutes, a kid is able to learn his 12-word seed phrase. Like I'm sure, Andy, there is some phone numbers that you learn that you still remember. Yeah.
Yeah, back in for I still know my parents' landline numbers from the days growing up before cell phones were a thing.
So you see, like people, like human are much more powerful than what we think. And like when you know that basically you can control everything which is digital, like your property, your Bitcoin, like whatever asset, even your emails, like if you go like really like Web3 authentication, you can control everything just by learning 12 words. Not and 12 English words that are like very simple. Like, where is the complexity? There is none. And we created this app, which is like for kid and grandmother, where you just have a way to learn these 12 words in a very easy and gamified way. And as I said, like a 5 years old, 3 minutes can learn this 12 word seed phrase and know that by heart. And even if you ask him a year later, he still knows them. And I don't know, like Andy, if you have kids, do you have some? Yeah.
Yes, you have a 13-year-old boy.
So look, man, like I don't know how you will feel, perhaps it's already the case, that you know that your kids know a bunch of seed phrase. Like you will feel like at peace, because you will say like whatever happened, he has total freedom of doing whatever. You can transfer to him whatever you want. He's safe. And yeah, and that's this easiness that we wanted to provide to the people, to tell them like there is nothing complex about it, like really,
Yeah, well,
and bring that to
it,
school.
it's a fascinating idea, and it's so interesting when you put it like that, Karim, because I think the kind of the default thinking on crypto is always, you've got to be super careful with your seed phrase. You've got to write it down, or like store it in secret locations, or break it up so no one can find it. Or people talk about, yeah, you could memorize it and walk across a border or something, but no one does that. It's too risky. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just it kind of goes yeah, but you're right. It actually isn't difficult to memorize 12 words if you just practice it and do it. Then yeah, but it's just the idea of protecting, say you've got, I don't know, $1 million worth of crypto, and you're securing it just by a phrase in your head. It's still it's incredible.
It's actually it's far easier than that. Like look, like as a kid can learn like multiple seed phrase
Mm,
easily, and you just written like the one that you want. Of course, you can still do a backup, a paper backup, but it's more like for having a bit of like sense of like safety. But
yes.
if you think through it, Andy, like probably if somebody take your phone and hack your phone right now and get to your email, there is much more than a million inside, because like your life data, your information, plus even like your double authentication on your bank account is. So at the end of the day, there is nothing too complex. It's just a narrative. Like oh, like we had this narrative at the beginning of onboarding is like, don't lose your private key. You know, it was not even seed phrase, it was private key at the time, you
Yeah.
know? And that stayed, and it doesn't make sense because like it's far easier than that. Like afterwards, like you know, like there are people that will be always worried about that, and they can use like custody services, you know, like we built the custody services for the banks, you know, we built like the hardware security module for the banks and everything, like how to store private keys, and we know exactly what are the security measures there. Um, it's not more, it's not safer than you doing it yourself. It's just like you transfer like the liabilities there, you know? And at the end of the day, if you go to the bank, you have a 100K guarantee. So if you are above, like, why don't you do it yourself, you know? And there is no advantage than taking like the responsibility for yourself, like to really learn that and do that. But I think like the easiest way is that if you are a parent, um, just give that to your kids and see how quick they get to learn that. And then when you see that, basically like this is where you start to say like, yeah, if he's able to do it, like I'm able to do it too, you know, like and
Yeah.
then you get there.
And I think it's such a good point, Kareem. And I think you're exactly right, because if you want to be a true sovereign individual and truly in charge of your data and your assets, you need to
Mhm.
kind of future proof yourself against finding yourself in a situation where you could be away from your home, away from your home country. Something goes wrong, you lose access to your phone, or it is stolen, or something like that. So if you do have the seed phrase in your head, then you can bring everything back.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's what being a sovereign individual is all about.
yes, yes. Now let's bring it like if you want, like if you like speak like 5 years, 10 years later, because like for me, it's always easier to speak about an horizon of 5 to 10 years in advance than for the now, because the now like we are busy building, you know. And in my life, like if I would say, like if I look back at my life, I was always like building system 5 years, 10 years in advance, you know, and always be like this impatience that oh everybody is going to adopt it right now. But then I realized no, like, there is time for adoption. But like if we look a bit further down the line, if we speak about like spatial computing, like did you try the Vision Pro from Apple?
No, I haven't tried it, but I've obviously seen the videos and so on.
Oh,
And I think, I don't want to get generation one. Maybe I'll wait for generation 3 or 4. But yeah, it looks great. And I can see spatial computing. That's what Apple calls it, right?
yes, yes, yes. And this is like, I think people don't realize what that means, really, because look, spatial computing is a way that first you get to live life in the same times, bring your digital life in the same time. So,
Yeah.
like, if you look at the Dopamine app, which is like really like an everything app, you know, like if you look at the trading module with data science, basically you have something which is even already more powerful than the Bloomberg terminal. You can have like 6 screen in real time, all your trade in real time, powered with AI, and and do massive profits and like really cool, great, but that's still on a phone. Now with the Vision Pro and this type of device, basically like you're able to see your kids like playing in the living room, and at the same time you're able to manage all your digital assets and do like complex tasks, like just because like you have digital screen everywhere. But on top of that, what is the most important thing is like basically you have like authentication system directly with your eyes, and also with pattern. Basically where you look, you know, is where you pay also, you know, because like if you look at our dopamine, the token is, we are also in the attention economy, you know, dopamine is also like the molecule in your brain. And if you look at our stats right now, like users, they are spending 2.5 hours per month in average. Twitter, it's 5.5, and we are 2.5 already with 3.7 million users. So people don't spend a lot of time in the app because like they get addicted to all this information, to all this data. They have fun. They love the crypto space. We love the crypto space. It's great, but it's still a phone. Imagine something which is much more immersive, where you are really like inside it, you know? And then if you think like at the computer science and the AI and everything bind it to this spatial computing, imagine now where you look. the data that you look, you are being authenticated. So basically, you are paying the APIs directly with your wallet, your personal wallet. So everything like gets to the point uh, that every company is trying to achieve like in the last 20 years, which is real SaaS services. You know, SaaS services is you pay a software, a subscription, and you get to a UI that provide you some data. Yeah. Now that's trying to really like reduce that to you pay with what you consume, you know. But now if you pay with the data that you read and like really like the granularity of the data that you request on API endpoints, there is nothing better than spatial computing there. And that's gonna bring like a new era of like computer science with grouped with AI and payment system, distributed payment system. It's gonna be really, really exciting. And this is where we are at right now. Like we already starting migrating the Dopamine app into Vision Pro. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow, well, that is quite an exciting vision indeed, and I can see how that makes a lot of sense. Look, well, as we finish off this part of the podcast, Karim, just I'd love you to maybe just paint a picture again of where the Dopamine app is at now. I think you said something like 3.7 million users. So just kind of
Yeah,
give us an idea of, I guess, your any kind of interesting user metrics that you're watching. How can people all around the world get the app? What do they need to do to get the app? What should they
sure.
know? What are the kind of primary use cases available to them now on the app? And maybe just again, spatial computing, whatever else, just kind of hint at what the app is going to look like as you begin to keep rolling out product features. So why should people get on board,
Okay.
get the dope, get the straight dope right now?
Yeah, thank you, Andy, like for helping me with all the CTA. So, call to action. So, if you are a retail person right now and you want to have like the most powerful app on the market, don't trust my word. Just make your own opinion. Download it on Android and iOS on your store, wherever you are in the world. Dopamine app, Dopamine crypto. You search that on the Android store, you will see that. You install it. It's free. You have every tools, which are really cool. And if you want to unlock the coolest features, then you need to have the dope token. The coolest feature, like for everybody, which is like a trader and like to invest, the prediction and the AI data science for spot and leverage trading. That's my favorites. Like I would definitely recommend you to look at that because it costs you like $30 per week, in dope token right now, but the return of investment is like very much asymmetric, like, but just test it by yourself, make your own opinion, and if you also confirm that it is great, please like come back to us. That means the world for us to have this positive feedback. In terms of metrics, I said like out of our 3.7 million users, our users are spending right now 2.5 hours per month, every month on the app. People go inside the app to do the trading, manage all their wallets in real time, whatever wallet they have, all their centralized exchange, they can manage that on the go, get all the pricing information, but also there is like move to earn, play to earn, a lot of cool stuff about videos, podcasts, everything translated in real time. So yeah, make your own opinion. It's really like a meta app. It's the coolest app on the market. Like period. Like whatever app you have, it's great. It's compatible with Dopamine Connect with the rest of the app. But if you look at the coolest app on the market, yeah, Dopamine is really like the stuff we put our blood and soul into this one. And if you are a Web3 entrepreneur and you want to access our whole infrastructure and all build solutions that are deployed directly into the Dopamine app to reach like an audience of 3.7 million users, then you have the dope token that you stake as a licensing model. As long as you have the dope token, you have access to everything, infrastructure, source code you can deploy. And if after 3, 5 years, you don't want to use it, then you can sell your token. You probably did money on it because like every contributors of the ecosystem are actually publishing their code back. That means like it's self-improving. When a bank is actually using our world standard anti-money laundering, when they do improvement, the improvement belongs to the whole ecosystem. So we have like a very smart licensing model that we worked a long time with the best lawyers in Switzerland in the Web3 space to really like create this utility encapsulation of a licensing model. And yeah, that's where we are. Like, and if you want to buy the DOPE token, you can go on different exchanges right now, centralized exchange. So we are on Gate, MEXC, and also BitGate. So I kept BitGate for the end because I think this is one of your sponsor, Andy. So, like, guys, if you want to buy the DOPE, go to BitGate and yeah, and use the link down below.
Yep, that is exactly right. Well, funnily enough, I think we just completed our current sponsorship with BitGet. I'm sure they'll be back again in the future. We've been
Okay, okay,
back.
I take it back. I take, no, joking.
No, but BitGet are a fantastic exchange, and yeah, probably one of the easiest options to get dope. So very good. Hey, well, look, thank you so much, Karim. I think what we do now is we go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll have some fun. We'll finish off by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Back in 1 second. And boom, we are back, and I'm with Karim Shea. But Karim is the founder of Dopamine, the super app for crypto. Well, really for businesses, entrepreneurs, and of course, just end users, as we've learnt today. There's a dope token, lots of amazing stuff, and well, even more amazing stuff on the pipeline for the future. Karim, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Sure, man. Shoot it.
I'm just going to run some questions at you. Just want you to give me your kind of like hot take style answers. Just a bit of fun. Question one for you. Where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
That's the best one. So there are different use cases. First, in terms of like store value and basically like the fundamentals of this digital economy, I would say I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. Like, no doubt. Like, there is one network that has a security which is meant to be like the best network for what it has to do, and this is a Bitcoin network. Now, if you ask me, should we use this network to encapsulate JPEG or tokenize crap? I would say no. I would say use other networks that are like cheaper, faster, that are meant to do these kind of things, But depending on what you want to tokenize, you choose your network for real stuff, real wells where you want like the biggest security. Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist in this aspect, and also like as a store of value,
Yep.
But if you say tokenizing memes or other stuff that are like of low value, I would say, yeah, use other networks. There are plenty of cool networks that are like cheaper, better, that you don't like. You don't want also like to mess up too much, like, with the transaction cost and speed on the main network, In the same time, I will give you my 2 cents on the Rune network, like, because I didn't really follow up too much, but I saw that there was an extension of actually like the BRC20. And I think, okay, it's great as an experiment. The market is always right. People want to try with it. It's okay if they want to spend like $120 to actually mint like a picture of a cat. Why not? It's gonna like show like the support of the network. But I think that could be interesting if you want like to tokenize like high value property or shares, and bring that to the Bitcoin network, even if that was not the first intent. And I think there are other networks that are meant to do that. Runes could be finally going into this direction, like really tokenizing high value goods and assets, because you want the highest security. And the rest of the network where you have like cheaper assets are perfectly fine. Like it's crazy like to use a network that has so high fee in transaction for stupid things. Like you'd rather use like another network.
Yep. Makes perfect sense to me. Thank you, Karim. What would you say then is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
We are in a basic migration. It's that for me, like it's just like very like, okay, I'm a tech guy, so perhaps it seems easier for me, but I would say like, guys, it's just like a simple migration. And the same way we migrated to this landline old phones to mobile phones, we are now in the era of distributed ledger, AI, and spatial computing. And it's just like a simple migration because informaticians and mathematicians spoke together and they came to apply some basic math. And that's it. We are there. So it's a simple migration, and my conviction is just like migration is going to be a rollout. It started very progressively, but the acceleration of the rollout is going to increase, and now it's just a question of like taking everybody by the hand and say like, guys, you don't have any other choice than just read the fucking manual.
Yeah, I like it. Karim, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. 10 years is a long time in blockchain, but cast your mind forward. Whatever you like, Web3, dopamine, what does it look like? The dopamine ecosystem, what does it all look like in 10 years' time?
It's funny because like it's very true, like this saying, like look, when I was a younger, like a kid, I would say like when I was like 18, 19, I was already like building like the first mobile application with WAP and doing like some crazy stuff at the time with Microsoft. And I was always impatient. Like I was always expecting that my technology will be used within months or like a year or two. And it always took like 5 to 10 years to be fully like adopted, like I remember like the first intranet, extranet that I was doing communicating with mobile. It took like the city of Basel nearly 10 years to get that fully rolled out, and getting a bit older, I just realized that it's just a question, what is your time frame, and this is also how you build wealth. Like I remember like not just Bill Gates, but Alex Hormozy is saying like you can see how wealthy a person will be depending on at which time frame he's looking at, and I think looking at 10 years, 5 years, 10 years time frame is it's just makes sense. Even if it's like crypto, like you need to think not in terms of technology, but what is the value and what is the usage of people, are they going to use in 5 years, 10 years? And for me, like, and I would say like for our company and what we build is like, okay, 5 to 10 years, our layers is fully open up to the majority of builders. And our licensing model is just like a commodity that everybody is using. The technology that we have built is equipping like headsets that probably are sexier than the one from Apple right now. Like it probably look more like your glasses like this, like very simple, but basically you are able right now looking at me with your glasses, like to see all your tradings, all your news in the same times, and probably like having your kids chatting with you. And yeah, that's where we are at, like spatial computing, AI, and management of assets. And when I say assets, I don't specify digital asset or whatever, because when I say the migration is taking place, it means everything. Like if you go IoT and distributed ledger, you're controlling the lights also with a blockchain, like distributed ledger. Like it's just because like the infrastructure is cheaper, more efficient, more reliant. So it's everywhere, So you're basically seeing the world, interacting with the world in real time with the real people, but at the same time, you are fully immersed with a digital environment where you are actually managing assets. And all these assets, they are just assets that, of course, they are on distributed ledger, but that happened like already, like in 10 years, that would have happened like in 10 years ago. So you
Yes.
will not even, you know what I mean?
Look, you're exactly right. The next question, Kareem, and it's kind of related, is sci-fi author William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With
Yeah.
that in mind, what is an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Look, me, like, if you don't mind, I'll give you like, not right now, I will give you like an anecdote of 2017,
Sure.
18, that people still don't realize. Still people are thinking, oh, crypto, perhaps, but like it could be scam. Banks are not like, they don't like, man, 2017, 18, like guys, I was already building the infrastructure for the banks. Like I was at Avaloq, the world leader core banking system. I had this congress with a little hub, and I was showing these banks how to manage Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they were fighting between them to be the first. Like I can remember BBVA and Gazprom and all these banks around me saying, Karim, we want to be the first, we want to be the first. And all these banks since 2017 are fully on board and building this technology. It's just like they didn't communicate it that at the time, because they didn't had like the infrastructure ready, the regulator didn't give the approval. So it's normal at this time that they were saying, oh, crypto is not cool. Because if they would have said that and they would have not have been ready, you as a client of these banks, you would have said, okay, man, you say it's cool and you don't have the product. So I'm going to go to another bank that have it. And then everybody would have migrated already to fintech banks, and they didn't want it that. So they were saying at the time, it's not good, but on the moment they were building on it. So that's exactly like the future was already there in 2017 and 18, but people didn't knew about it. And I think a majority of people still have doubt about what is blockchain, what is crypto, and they don't realize that it's just like the infrastructure which is going to power, which is actually powering right now the biggest exchange worldwide.
Yes, indeed. Very well said. Brings us nicely to our final question, Karim, which is what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
Wow. So, as a book, when I was a kid, there were one book that I really liked. Was called New York, Niourk. In movies, as a kid, it was, and I still love it, but War Games. I don't know if you know this one.
Yes, War Games, classic. Wow, that's
Yeah.
obscure today, but that was a classic of the 80s, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, with the Whopper, and like the AI and about World War III and all that. Like I really love this one, like how to hack modems and all
Yes.
that. Of course, like the metrics, but everybody is saying that, are we living in a simulation? And if yes, I do believe so, but like that's the simulation of God. It's a
Yeah.
big architect. Um, yeah, and documentary. And life, like when you look at life in real life, like through the eyes of spirituality, like you can see magic everywhere. So
Wonderfully said. Wonderfully said, Karim. Thank you so much for coming on the show and spending some time with us today. It's been fantastic to have you to share your insights. Again, just to finish off, again, tell people where they can go to, install, download the Dopamine app, get involved, maybe look at getting some dope tokens. What should they do? Where should they go?
thanks. So first, Andy, thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure. It has gone so quick. It was really, really nice to be here. And thanks for the question. They are amazing. So guys, if you like what we do or you're intrigued, download the Dopamine app on your phone on Android and iOS and get some Dopamine token on MEXC Gate and Bitgate. With this token, you can use it immediately inside the app. I will definitely recommend you to use the data science and AI trading. You're going to have a lot of fun. And if you are a Web3 builder that wants to access, I would say, like the most battle-tested and compliance infrastructure, get also some dope that will grant you a license for you to build and deploy your solution also in our Dopamine store. And if you want to know about us, we have our Twitter, Dopamine app, and also we are 24/7 also on our Telegram.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Karim. All the best and bye for now.
Thank you so much, Andy.
All right, there you go. That was Karim from Dopamine. Pretty cool, actually. Very, very interesting looking project. Cool app, the everything app. It just makes sense, really. So be excited to see that roll out further. We reached the end of another show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See you.